Weapon comparison: European settlers versus Maori in the Maori Wars. In the Maori Wars, European settlers and the Maori people had distinctly different weapons. These differences significantly influenced the outcomes of their conflicts. European settler weapons. The European settlers, predominantly of British descent, brought advanced shooter to New Zealand. They primarily used muskets and rifles, muzzle-loading shooter known for their accuracy at long distances. This gave the European settlers a significant advantage in long-range combat. They also had access to cannons, which provided them with artillery support during battles. Soldiers were equipped with bayonets, sharp blades attached to their muskets, for close combat. In mounted warfare, cavalry units used sabers. A flintlock is a type of shooter ignition mechanism that was widely used from the 17th to the early 19th century. It played a significant role in the history of shooter technology. Here's how a flintlock works. First, lock mechanism. The flintlock mechanism consists of several key components, including a hammer, sometimes called a cock, a frizzen, a pan, and a piece of flint. Second, priming. The first step is to pour a small amount of fine gunpowder into the pan, which is a small, shallow depression located just behind the flash hole or touch hole in the shooter's barrel. Third, cocking the hammer. The shooter then cocks the hammer, which holds a piece of flint. Fourth, firing. When the trigger is pulled, the hammer strikes the flint. The flint produces a spark when it strikes the steel frizzen. This spark ignites the gunpowder in the pan, creating a flash. Fifth, ignition. The flash travels through the flash hole or touch hole in the barrel to ignite the main charge of gunpowder inside the barrel, propelling the bullet or shot forward and firing the gun. Flintlock shooter were widely used for military, hunting, and personal defense purposes during their era. However, they were gradually replaced by more reliable and faster ignition systems, such as percussion caps, in the 19th century. Despite their historical significance, flintlock shooter are now mainly used by historical reenactors and collectors. Maori weapons. Conversely, the Maori people relied on traditional weaponry rooted in their culture. These included the Patu, a wooden or bone club with a pointed end, effectively used for close combat strikes. Another traditional Maori weapon was the taiaha, a pole weapon with a pointed blade at one end and a flat blade at the other, ideal for thrusting and striking at close quarters. These weapons excelled in hand-to-hand combat but were less effective at a distance. A patu is a traditional Maori weapon from New Zealand. It is a type of club or striking weapon that was historically used by the Maori people in combat and warfare. The patu typically has a flat, elongated shape, often resembling a small club or paddle, with one end tapering to a point or edge, which could be used for striking or jabbing in close combat. The design and materials of patu could vary, with some being made from wood, bone, or stone. These weapons were sometimes ornately carved, showcasing the artistic skills of the Maori people. While Patu were once used in warfare, today, they are often seen in cultural and ceremonial contexts, symbolizing Maori heritage and identity. They are an important part of Maori cultural heritage and history. Conclusion. The substantial differences in weaponry between European settlers and the Maori during the Māori Wars played a pivotal role in shaping the outcomes of their confrontations. European settlers had shooters designed for long-range engagements, while the Maori's traditional weapons were tailored for close combat. These disparities highlight the impact of technology and culture on warfare during this historical period.